Close to getting ready to start. We're just waiting on a few people pulling in, and we're going to let them get in here. But I want to ask if you'd silence your cell phones, if you don't mind, and just ease some of the distractions when other people are sharing and different things. Also, to give you a little information, the service is being recorded, and so it will be available on our YouTube channel. You can go to Ridgeview Community Church on YouTube. And just look for the Sue Eicher Memorial, and you'll find that. So if there's something you'd like to watch it again later, if you'd like to share that with someone who couldn't be here today, if you want to text anyone right now and say, hey, if you log in to YouTube and find Ridgeview Community Church, you could watch it. If there's anyone that you know couldn't make it but maybe would like to view that as well. Also, we have a slideshow a little bit later, and there's some older photos, and they project kind of washed out a little bit. But it will probably show up much clearer online afterwards. So if you want to go back and watch that again later, even just to watch that part, see some of those photos, that will be a little bit clearer. That would be an option for you as well. So one of the things about Sue was she planned for today, and so there were some things that she had some specific instructions about today. We've already shared in a few of those this morning with some private family time out at Hillcrest. But she picked out a couple of songs that she wanted particularly played at her service and everything. And so we're going to play one of those here as we get ready to begin and just give you a chance to settle yourself in and be ready. But this is one of the songs that she chose for today. So enjoy this moment.
The world
Well, thank you for coming to be with us today, and on behalf of the family, I just want to extend their deepest gratitude for your presence here today as we prepare to do some celebrating. My name is Kevin Huckabee. I'm the pastor. I'm the lead pastor here at Ridgeview Community Church, and I previously served in different capacities here at the church as a youth pastor and an associate pastor, and so my relationship with Sue and with Ron began when they first came to the church well over 20 years ago. And so we've had a long relationship there. Sue and I spent many Sundays after church visiting, hanging out in the back, just having chats and talking about life, talking about bowling and the other things that were going on. And So it's a privilege to share with you today, not just as a pastor, but as somebody who shared in relationship with her as well and thinks a great deal of her. So before we get in, I'd just like to take a moment to offer a word of prayer, and then we'll share some things this morning. Father in heaven, as we gather here, Lord, we are thankful for this opportunity to be together, to be gathered as family and friends, to celebrate a life lived well. Lord, as we've already begun celebrating this morning and sharing in a very special time as family this morning, we've sensed your presence, and so we would just invite you in this place to be with us as we journey through the emotions of the day. God, may we feel your presence, and may we do a great job of honoring the life and legacy of Sue and doing everything we can to honor you as we do that. So bless us, Lord, as we gather and pray that you would do that in your name. Amen. Well, we are here to gather to celebrate Ann Sue Mathis, who was born in 1939 in Decatur, Alabama. Now, as I spent time with the girls, I learned some interesting things about Sue. As they began sifting through some of her life documents, they learned some things. That Sue Ann Sue Mathis was her alias. Her birth certificate actually says her name is Annie and not Ann, even though she's always said her name was Ann. And she always said that she was born in Decatur, Alabama, but her birth certificate says Montgomery. So did we ever figure it out, or we just, as far as we know, she could have been a bank robber hiding. She might have been in witness protection all these years. We don't know for sure, but we do know who she was, and she was a blessing. Her parents, Jay and Pearl Mathis, along with her siblings, Alan, Don, and Bobby, who have preceded her in death, and she was the youngest of the 4 children. She also was preceded in death by the love of her life, Ronnie, whom she met in high school in Whittier, California, and they were married in 1956. While they were both still 17. Their parents had to sign off on their wedding because they were not yet 18. We have some other people in here who journeyed in that way as well. It's just how things were done then. It was a little bit different than it is today. Now these kids don't get married till they're like 30, still living at home. I don't know why we do this, but in those times it was normal. You know, we think, wow, 17 and they were getting married and starting a family and a life, but that's kind of what life was like in those days. And nowadays we would say that a couple of kids meeting in high school and getting married at a young age is a recipe for disaster. Most of us would probably think, that's never going to work. You know, what are they thinking? They're too young. But that was not the case. Those two would go on to be married for 49 years, at least in this life together. For Sue, she's been married for almost 70 because she stayed faithful to that one that she loved. They had 3 beautiful girls, and Sherry, Kelly, and Tracy, and that would begin a legacy that would grow and grow, and is still growing. 39 grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids, one of which was born just after her passing. Still growing this legacy that Sue and Ron started so many years ago. What an absolute blessing they have been. They eventually would settle here in the Kern County area due to Ron's work. Over time, Sue would work a few different jobs, but her true life's calling was to be a mom and to be a grandma and to just love her family. That was what was important to her. she knew all their names and all the birthdays of that whole crew. When I spent some time with her, and a couple of days before she passed, she was sharp as could be and was telling me all about it. As soon as we came, she's like, I've got 38 grandkids and great-grandkids, and I'm about to have another one. It'll make 39, and she knew. And they said she knew. And I said, how do you keep track of all their names? And she's like, I know their names and their birthdays, and she knew it because that was her life. That was what was so important to her. Her family was everything, and she loved her family more than anything else on this earth. I asked the girls, because I often wondered why she stayed single over all these years. I thought, she's beautiful, and she's so much fun, and we always had these great conversations, and she had so much life left to live, but, she had enjoyed the greatest of loves with her Ronnie, and I don't think she thought anyone could ever measure up to that, and so she threw herself into the building of that legacy and invested her life into the legacy. All of those kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and all of them. When we try to think about summing up life in a short service, it's impossible. We can't is everything about Sue and who she was and what she meant in this very short time we have. But I'm going to do my best to share some memories and some things that, hopefully will trigger some of your own thoughts and memories that you'll have the chance to share with the family later. And that way we gather to do the things we do. I did learn some neat things about Sue. I learned some doozies, I tell you. And so there's things that we know. We know Sue loved to bowl. Any of you bowling buddies in here? Is that? Oh, I see some hands. All right. Yep. I loved to bowl when my body would allow me to back in the day. And so she and I talked about bowling all the time because I loved it. And so she would tell me about her trips and leagues and tournaments and all kinds of things. So we always would chat about that. She loved to play bunco with friends, and she liked to do a little bit of gambling. We're in the church. Cleopatra Keno, was that what? When I was going through my notes again, I'm like, Cleopatra Keno. All right, I don't think I have seen that, but and the girl said she was looking forward to this new Hard Rock casino that's going to be opening up, and I'm pretty sure that there's probably a memorial trip already in the works when it opens up. Like I see here, I don't know what your plans are, but I see shirts. Like I see shirts with her picture on it, and like, here you go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And so maybe let me know when you're going, and I might want to tag along. I don't know. I just see that. I see that as that fun, enjoying life type of thing. I learned that Sue liked to drive fast. That Sue liked to drive using both feet. One on the brake, one on the gas. I guess, that's one way. Not the best way. And the girls had to get retrained when they went through driver's ed so they could pass the drive test probably. And they said most of the time she was barefoot when she was doing that. So, that was her. And Sue was a little feisty and a little sneaky. I don't know if you guys knew that. I'm sure that's not a surprise to most of the family. They told me the story of her license happening to lapse at one point, and which the family didn't think was such a bad thing, that maybe she wasn't driving, and but she kept the car in running shape, ready to go, just in case. And unbeknownst to the girls, she did secretly sneak off to the DMV and get her license back. And I think what. Kelly, was it you that said she sent you some cryptic text about being back on the road, and here we go? Yeah. And that's good because that meant that she could sneak off and go to the Dollar Tree and other places and wherever she needed to go, and she could do her things, and so she was fun. What made Sue, I think, so special though was just the way she loved people. everyone I've talked to and anyone that I've known that's ever known her just has always said that she just was such a loving person. She'd give anything she had to help someone who was in need, and she just had a big heart that way. Sue loved God. We made sure that we knew that. We talked about that. Encouraged the girls, even in the latter days, to make sure they read their Bibles, and some of that was because we learned this morning, she even had a little hidden note to them in her Bible, but her Bible, all those things were important to her. Sue was ready for heaven. That's the most important part of today. She was ready for heaven, and my wife and I went to visit with her just a couple of days before she passed, and I'll tell you, it was a wonderful visit for me as a pastor. Oftentimes when I go to visit people in these kinds of situations, end of life, and those chats they're not always the best. And we had such a great time. I mean, we laughed and chatted and all kinds of stuff. And when Heidi and I left, we really enjoyed our time with her. It was just so delightful. And the biggest thing out of that when we walked out was just, wow, she loves her family. That you could tell. So there was no doubt about it. She was ready to see Ronnie. We talked about that. His pictures are on the wall. We had conversations about that. And she said, I'm ready to see him. I've missed him. And so we were able to just share in that. And the cool thing was her mind was as sharp as could be. Like, oftentimes it's not that way when we go to visit with people in these places and in these moments. And man, she was sharp, she was clear, she was laughing. She laughed even more when she realized she didn't have her teeth in the whole time we were talking. And she's like, oh my goodness, I don't have my teeth in. And we just laughed, and it was just, that was just the way she was there, and so I just love that. She just had this zest for life. And as I said, she knew exactly how many of those kids she had, and she knew that there was one that was going to be here anytime. And so her mind was sharp, and she was ready. And in a bit, but as I said at the beginning, we're faced with the how now. How do we share all these memories? How do we share and summarize all that she has meant to the family and to friends? And how do we do that in a timely fashion? So I knew that if we tried to start a line here of people and let every family, just the family, get up and share, we'd be here for a couple of days just because there's so many of you guys. So we knew that wasn't an option, and so I said, do me a favor, reach out to all the kids, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, and just give me some stuff. And so I am going to give you a rapid-fire reading of who Sue is, of the things that people remember, of just the fun things to charge our minds as best as I can here in a moment. So these are some of the things, and some of you, they may be random, but for the family, I know they're going to hit right at home. These are the things that were written down that they will remember about Miss Sue. Grilled cheese sandwiches, fried egg in butter, fudge, bread and butter pickles, and sweet tea. Crackers with pimento and cheese. Pineapple upside down cake that I've heard from multiple people in a very short amount of time. This pineapple upside down cake. Roast with mashed potatoes and gravy. Peaches and cream, peach cobbler, and orange slice candy, which we have up here in the front. There was something about a fly swatter and timeouts in the corner. I don't know if those went together, but when I read them, I'm like, I wonder if those go together. And a big beanbag chair that everyone liked to fight over. She enjoyed things like The Price is Right and Days of Our Lives and Annie the movie, probably because that was her real name. Right? I read that, I'm like, hey, that's because that was her name, so she really did like it. She was famous for posting accidentally on Facebook and then proclaiming, I didn't do that. Or setting off her life alert and declaring to the EMTs that wasn't her. I don't know why it went off. It just happened. They'll remember her signature white pants and painted toenails and her no close-ups after 50. Enjoyed birthday parties at her house, the big white blanket that the kids sat on for pictures, birdhouses in the backyard, the toy room, the doll collection, and 5 remotes to run one TV. There's a few of those up here as well. The kids shared her memories of her rubbing their ears while they were sick, or freaking out around a swimming pool because she didn't swim, singing off key or two-stepping in the kitchen, and just some random things that for some of you, maybe those connect and resonate a little bit. And the list would go on and on and on if we could just stay here for hours and share, because there is no way to fully sum it all up. The list is endless of memories that we all would have to share. And those are the things that help keep her spirit alive for the generations to come. When you tell her story, you share her things. When whoever is now making the upside down pineapple cake, I don't know whose job that's going to be, but somebody apparently is going to have to carry on that tradition. And so, as I shared this morning, as the family was arriving for our time out at the cemetery, I saw so much of Sue in so many faces. It's so obvious. And so her legacy lives on in every smile that, as I look around here, even this morning, I just see her smile coming back in so many of your faces. So that is such a beautiful thing that we have. And with that much of a legacy, we know that she will not be forgotten. There is absolutely no way. And so as part of our time this morning, we also have a little bit of sharing that we're going to have from a couple of people that have been asked to share. And we have a few minutes. We might see if any of you want to add something to that. But at this time, we're going to invite Rick Dossie to come up. Rick's going to come, and Rick is going to share with us a poem for today.
I met Grammy in 2007, and me and my wife now weren't together at the time, but I met her at a holiday party, and she found out that I was a police officer, and all she wanted to do was talk about her neighborhood. I mean, for like an hour, the whole time. She took my business card, she asked for it, and she kept it in her purse until me and her granddaughter started dating in 2011. And it was funny because we went over to meet her. She still had that business card in her purse, and it just made me laugh. That's just the type of person she is. I want to read the poem, but I also wrote something myself that I wanted to read, so I'll start with the poem. To those I love, when I am gone, let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with tears, but thankful for our beautiful years. I gave to you my love. You can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love you each have shown, but now it's time I travel on alone. So grieve a while for me. If grieve you must, then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's only for a time that we must part, so bless the memories within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on, so if you need me, call and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I'll be near, and if you listen with your heart, you'll hear all my love around you soft and clear. And then when you must come this way alone, I'll greet you with a smile and say, welcome home. And she wrote in her cursive writing, I love you. Today we gather not only to grieve the loss of someone we love so deeply, but also to celebrate the incredible life of a woman who shaped each of us in ways we'll carry forever. To me, she wasn't just my grandmother, she was Grammy. That name alone carried with it comfort, warmth, and unconditional love. Grammy had a way of making every person feel seen and cherished. Her smile could light up the darkest room, and her laughter, soft, genuine, and contagious, reminded us that joy could always be found even in life's hardest moments. She was the heart of our family, holidays, birthdays, Sunday dinners, Easter. None of them would have been the same without her touch. She had this gift of bringing people together, of reminding us of what truly matters: love, kindness, and family. What I'll miss most about Grammy are the little things, the way she told stories about the old days, the comfort of her hugs that seemed to say everything's going to be all right, and the way she could turn even the simplest moments into memories we'll never forget. She taught us all so much, not just through her words, but through the way she lived her life. She showed us the strength and patience, the beauty and generosity, and the importance of faith. Her legacy isn't just in the lessons she's passed down, but in the people we become because of her. Though our hearts are heavy with loss, I know Grammy wouldn't want us to dwell in sadness. She would want us to hold on to the love she gave so freely, to carry it forward, and to live our lives with the same compassion and grace she showed every day. So today, as we say goodbye, let us also say thank you to Grammy for the love and the laughter and the countless memories that will remain with us forever. She may be gone from our sight, but she will never be gone from our hearts. Rest peacefully, dear Grammy. We love you always. Thank you.
Well, at this time, we're going to invite, Johnny is going to come up and share a few words. Is Johnny here? No? Oh, there he is. All right.
After that, right, man, you got me back there. It's hard to put 25 years in a nutshell. I don't even know how to do it, where to begin. I'll begin with the iced tea. I know that iced tea. After what you said about her maybe hiding or undercover or something, I believe she might have been hanging out with some of the brothers and stuff. The way she made that iced tea. I don't know what she put in it, but I'd take some home. You know, if you want to know how we do it, just watch what's that movie called? House Party. That little kid that make that when after a kid walks the girl home, he goes to the projects. Now you got this project Kool-Aid. He put so much sugar in that. That's how we like it. And we like a lot of sugar. That's how she made it. But how Rick said and everybody said, the first time you meet her, it can be something super, super simple, and she could turn it into a lifelong memory. Like his first time meeting her. Same with me. My first time ever meeting her. We moved in across the street, and we were there a few days. And I was in the yard, and she came out. And as soon as I saw her, I said, oh no, here we go. Here's the rules. Here comes all the rules of what you can and can't do. And she's strutting across the street. In my mind, I'm like, okay, how many rules am I gonna wind up breaking? I know she's gonna have a scroll. It was none of that, none of it. She, super nice. She walked up, my name is Sue, and told me her name, and I told her mine. Yeah, so you got kids? Yeah, we got kids. And she said, well, I'll tell you what, I see you in the yard all the time. If you ever need anything, come over. You come. If you need the trash cans, they're right there, but put them back when you're done. Make sure you put them, I want them back where they were at. And I was, because had my head down and I was thinking all the things she was gonna tell me, and it was nothing what she was telling me. So I was watching her, she was going back across the street, And she had that little walk. She knew she was cute. She walked back, and then she turned and she said, "Oh yeah, by the way, Ron just passed. That's his truck. If you know anybody who wants to buy it, let me know. But if you ever need to use it, let me know." And I fell in love with her right then. There was nothing I wouldn't do for that lady. And fast forward a few years, that was our first meeting. So we've been meeting quite a few times. So one day she calls me, it's out of the blue. "Are you at home?" I said, "Yeah, I'm at home." And she said, "Well, I need you to come over." I said, "What's wrong?" She said, you just got to get here." So I leave, I'm going across the street. And lo and behold, this is Preston over there, had locked himself in the house. She's at the back door trying to make him open she's calling for me. I said, "Sue, where you at?" She said, "I'm in the back." We're standing by the glass screen door. And he cannot open the door. He's too small. He's about 2.5. No, you weren't even 2 yet. You were barely walking. She's reach up, and he tries to reach up, and he slides down the window. And Sue's looking, you can tell she's scared, but she slaps her hands, and she laughs, and she looks at me. You know how she used to laugh. She'd slap her hands, or she'd slap her leg. She's like, "Johnny, could you make him do it?" I said, "Well," he's looking at us like we're in the zoo. Because we're, reach up, and he slide down the window again. He's tiptoeing, trying to open his door. So I can't remember who she called, but after she's looking at me, "Can you break in?" I hadn't known Sue that long. I could have gotten in the house, but I didn't want to show her I could. I was like, "Well, I look like getting in his house." And then look, Rick, he's pretty good at breaking in houses. You might want to check him. So I can't remember who came over, but somebody came over and they opened the door, and we got him out of there. But we had a lot of fun. You wouldn't think two people. It's weird how God puts people in your life. We had a lot of fun. I would go over there just to hear her, her view on the neighborhood and who's doing what, and her stories, and she wouldn't be lying. You would think she was lying, and she wasn't. I had to look at her. One time around the corner from her house, she witnessed a robbery. "Johnny, I witnessed a robbery. I think it was some Crips." I said, "Well," "Sue?" "Yeah, she called you?" "Yeah, see?" I said, she saw the whole thing, and I'm not telling nobody because I don't want to be involved in that. And then she went to the casino. I was like, "Wait a minute. Did you get some money out of it? You might be undercover." But there was a few times, I got a couple more. I know I'm almost running out of time, right? So it's 25 years, I'm trying to crash it all in. So fast forward, probably about a year and a half. So he was maybe 1. So a year and a half goes by, and for whatever reason, that dude would watch me through the window every day. Preston. That's my man. You're my man, Preston. I love you, man. And she would bring him across the street. So over a period of time, I would have candy and stuff waiting for him. I don't know if Cameron and Too Clean right there. I don't know if you ever got any of their candy, but I would give him big bags, man, so you guys could share it. He probably didn't give it to you. So this one particular time, he comes out, and Sue got to the point to where she would just stand at the garage, like he said, barefoot. She do everything barefoot. Here comes Preston. He would just want to give me 5 and run back across the street. So this particular time, he comes out, and he's running across, and Sue's looking at him, and he gets almost to the point to where he can give me 5. And he looks down, and he turns around, and he runs back across the street. His little bobblehead, I said, he's gonna fall any second. And I didn't know what he was doing. And then he comes back, and Sue looks down, and she starts laughing. She makes me look down. And I realized he changed the shoes. And he comes over and he had Sue's shoes on and was embarrassed that he had her shoes on and had to change. You remember that? And ran back. He didn't want to give me 5. He ran back and changed his shoes, and Sue gave him such a hard time about that. He was so embarrassed. He's holding on to her. We laughed about that for weeks, like every day. Laughed about that. So fast forward, move out, and now I'm calling her, seeing how she's doing. And I went over there one day, and she tells me, Johnny, I'm thinking about getting a tattoo. I said, what? You think we get a tattoo? Hold on, when I was 17, I can't imagine how she was when she was 17. And she goes, yeah, I want to get drunk and I want to go out, I want to get a tattoo. Maybe I don't want to tell too much. I want to get toe up. I said, well, hell, I'm going with you. We gonna get ripped and we gonna get a tattoo. I'm thinking she's kidding. So a couple of weeks went by and I called her. Come over, I want to show you something. I said, what you got? I forgot, it's been a couple of weeks. And she said, just come over. So I said, all right, I'll be over there. Have that tea ready for me. I need some tea, Sue, when you get there. Oh, it's already done. I already got it ready. So I get there. She meets me coming out of the house. And I said, what's? And she's just giggling like she was just young at heart. Like her spirit was like a teenager. And she kicks that same shoe you had on. She kicks it off, the house shoe. She says, look it. And she had a tattoo on her foot. I said, what? So you really would? I said, that's a scratch and snip. So I rubbed it. She's like, it's still sore, though. I said, no, that's got to come off. I'm rubbing on it. It won't come off. I said, you really went and got a tattoo, Sue? She said, I told you I was. I said, well, how come you didn't call me? We're supposed to go together. That might have been fun. Because when we were talking about it, I said, now, Sue, what kind of tattoo you going to tease her? Because I didn't think she was going to do it. And, but it was fun. Like I said, 20 years is a long time to put in a nutshell. But I sure love her, and I miss her. I'm going to miss her. But somebody else come up here, because I can talk all day. I'm long-winded, so.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Thank you. Also, Tabby. Where'd you go? There you go. It's coming to share.
So I was accomplished in getting Mammy's driver's license. So I'm going to share the story. I had no idea I was being accomplished. I thought I was just giving everybody a favor, and I was told that nobody was available, and I know Aunt Kelly was on a cruise, and everybody was busy, and it was a Monday, and everyone was at work, and I was like, okay, yeah, what time's your appointment? Yeah, I'll be there, okay. She's like, okay, but be early. And then the night before, Corey's like, don't be late, like make sure you're there. And so she goes off to work, I'm getting ready, and I leave early, but I hadn't been on the new parkway, so I didn't realize I kept going down to the 58, so she's calling, I'm like, and I look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already to Mount Vernon, like where am I? So I get there, I'm still a couple minutes early, but she was worried. And we get there and I'm like, okay, let's do this, like let's go. And we get her in the car and she's like, what if I have to take a test? And I'm like, well, do you know if you have to take a test? And she's like, I don't know what I have to do. And she's like, I don't know if I could pass the test. And I was like, well, let's just go see, I was like, so why are we getting you your driver's license? Like, what do you need this for? Do you still have your car? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, do you want to be driving? And she's like, yeah, I want to. And I was like, well, what do you need to go for? She's like, to go get my medicines. And I'm like, well, how are you getting your medicines now? She's like, I'm getting them delivered. I was like, okay, why don't we keep getting them delivered? And then I finally get it out of her, and she's like, well, I need it because I need everybody to keep their insurance. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's go get everybody's insurance. So we go to the DMV, and she's walking up, and she goes up to the lady, and I'm like, okay, don't tell them anything more. Don't say anything. right away, she's like, am I gonna have to take a test? And she's all, I don't know, let me check. She's like, I don't think so. And we're like, I'm just looking at her, I'm like, grabbing her purse. I'm like, okay, be quiet. And then she's like, yeah, I haven't really been driving because of my Parkinson's. I'm like, shh. So we get there, we go sit down, and we're looking around, and there's a bunch of people speaking Spanish around us, right? She's like, they give them their license and not me? That is not right. And I'm like, looking at her, she's all, and I'm like, it's okay, everything's good. And then she said something about them being Mexican. And I was like, I hope this lady realizes I'm Mexican. But we just had a good time. Like, she just told us the story, and when we left, like, she was so excited and gung-ho about having her driver's license. Like, she was so happy. And she kept calling me afterwards and, like, inviting me over, and she invited us over. We had dinner one time. She came over, she made us dinner. She was just literally one of the most loving people, and she, you know, the reason why she wanted it was for her family. She wanted to provide a service for her family. Like, that was her main goal. She was just caring for everybody, always trying to do and do and do for them. So, we love Mammy, and she's on the road again, you guys.
We've got a couple of minutes here, looking at our time, and I think we're okay. If there's anyone else, if we can make time for one or two people, if somebody else had something they wanted to pass on. I know that we've got someone coming that I know was planning to opportunity to share. Just a moment. Let me bring this over. I just want we want to be able to hear you. And we want those on. Okay, we want to make sure they hear you.
I just want them to know that my mansion is going to be across the street from Sue. So don't you all forget that. And the rest of the family. I was her neighbor for 37 years. We never had. Sue was like a vest pocket. What a vest pocket is. It's inside the jacket. You don't always use it, but it's there when you need it. That's the way Sue was. And Sue never, ever complained, no matter how she was hurting. She could make a joke out of it and laugh. We had so many good times laughing. Let me tell this story. I won't be long. Whenever she would leave, she was supposed to let her children know. So this one evening, she did it. I was supposed to do likewise to my children. That evening, mine didn't know where I was. So when we finally talked, she told me about they thought she was lost, didn't know where she was. My kids thought I was lost. And we laughed and we said, we weren't lost. We knew where we were. But the thing I liked about Sue is how she could laugh. The last time I talked to her was days before her death. Trying to tell me something, she was talking soft. She would laugh, but I couldn't understand. And I didn't want to repeat that again. And so I just started laughing when she would laugh, because I knew she was saying something funny. And I tell you, you couldn't find a neighbor like Sue. Kids, they knew that I loved Sue and they loved her. I think one of her grandsons was over talking to her. My son was leaving. He rode down, turned around and said, Miss Sue, you all right? And she said, yes, I'm fine. Some of y'all might know who it was. It might have been one of her grandsons. And my daughter, when she'd be in the hospital, they would turn around in her yard so they could check on the house. And I think she had some of her grandsons checking on my house. And she said, you know they are because you're my friend. He's shaking his head. But anyway, but Sue lived a good life. She loved people. She loved people. In fact, Sue was colorblind. She didn't see color, just like Johnny was saying. But Johnny, I knew her before you did. So I was just wanting to stand to let Kelly and all of them know that my reservation is across the street from her in heaven. My mansion is going to be there.
One more? Anyone else? Not always easy to stand up and talk in front of a bunch of people you don't know. Well, as I shared earlier, we put together, the family has put together a little bit of a video tribute, and so we want you to take this opportunity to be thinking about some of the things you've heard, and as you see some of the photos, and just use this as an opportunity to reflect on your own relationship with Sue, and I hope that it's just a blessed moment, and then we'll just have a few things here to wrap up before we're out of here, but enjoy these next few moments.
It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
Dad's called me Granny, the other half called me Nanny. I have 38, and this is going to be my
that you'll be true and never leave me blue. Susie Q. Say that you'll be mine. Say that you'll be mine. Say that you'll be mine, baby, all the time. Susie Q.
Well, what a wonderful flood of memories I'm sure that was for just about all of you here. As we prepare to kind of conclude some of our time here this morning, I'm sure this is part of the service that don't look forward to, like, oh, now the pastor is going to get up and he's going to have to preach, right? But it's not what we're going to do. We've been here a while, and we're not going to stay much longer because we have lunch to get to as well, because we're going to keep celebrating. But there are a few things that I just need to share. Wouldn't be fitting to Sue's legacy if I didn't take a few moments and share just a couple of quick thoughts. I shared something with Sue while visiting with her that I wanted you to hear. One of my favorite verses in Scripture is John chapter 10, verse 10, where Jesus says that the enemy comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy, but I've come that you might have an abundant life. And I call it this life with a capital L. That's the life he wants us to have. And remind you of these stats. She was married to the love of her life for 49 years. That's abundant. She had 3 beautiful daughters. That is abundant. 39 grands and greats and great-greats, and the list goes on. That is abundant. 86 years of living on this earth. That is abundant. These are great things. Those numbers are abundant. Her life was filled with love, laughter, and legacy. That is abundant. That's an abundant way of living. And she lived her life with the promise of heaven, and that is of the utmost abundance. She's going to have a mansion. She's already got a neighbor, right? All right, I'll come visit you guys one of these days. The beauty of the visit that I shared with Sue that I was telling you about earlier was this confidence that she had in her Savior. She was ready for heaven. She was ready. And she was ready to see Ronnie. She was ready to see her family that had gone before her. She was ready. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 says, "Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him." And Sue had this great hope in her salvation and in the promise of what awaits us when we leave this place. In chapter 11 of John, Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even though he dies, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die." And I, being the pastor, have the utmost confidence that Sue lived and believed in Jesus with all her heart. And she was incredibly secure in this fact when we spoke that day. And that's what's so important for us to remember today. That is what gives us hope in days like today. There's an interesting passage in the book of Ecclesiastes that says this. It says, "The day of death is better than the day of birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of everyone, and the living should take this to heart." But on the surface, it sounds odd that how could a day of death be better than a day of birth? I mean, we celebrate new life. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate those things. They're reasons for joy and real celebration. But the truth of the matter is this, is that for someone who has faith and belief in Jesus Christ, what we consider to be a day of death here is truly a day of living. It's the day that real life has begun for Sue. The day and the moment that she left this world, life truly began. And now that's what she's experiencing. She's experiencing this life that hopefully we're all hoping to enjoy someday. And for us, what we realize is that life has only ended in the way that we understand life. So for us, that's all we know. But for Sue, she is more alive now than ever before. That's the hope that we hold on to. That's the joy that comes with knowing Jesus. She's living in a place where there is no sickness or disease. There are no broken bones, and that's good because we know that she broke all of hers, right? So what I think she is doing today is reciting the words of the Apostle Paul, who declared, "I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. And there is now in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And I will say that Sue kept her faith and finished her race. And she is without a doubt reaping the rewards that she has stored up in heaven for such a day as this." I really believe that. There's a song that I love called There Will Be a Day, and it says, the words in the song say, there will be a day with no more tears and no more pain, no more fears. There will be a day when the burdens of this place will be no more, and we'll see Jesus face to face. And for Sue, today is that day. She has no more tears. There are no fears. There are no burdens. And she has seen Jesus face to face. It is a beautiful thing. And while it might seem like death is what brought us here today, the truth of the matter is that life is what brought us here today, right? We have been celebrating the life that Sue lived. We have gathered here, and in its deepest sense, the truth is that we gathered here today because someone lived, not because someone died. And that's important for us to remember. The stories we've already heard, and there will be plenty more shared, hopefully, around lunch and other times. We celebrate today and we gather because of the life that Sue lived. And that's what we want to remember today. Our mourning for us exists only because someone lived such a life of influence that we will miss her being part of our daily experiences. That's why we mourn. And so that is a beautiful thing, that we have been so blessed to have had someone in our life who loved us that much that we would mourn their not being here anymore. That is a blessing. And I hope that you find joy in that today. And the best part of all of this day is that we are gathered today with the hope in our hearts because we believe that Jesus lives and provides us with an avenue of reconnecting again with the ones that we have loved who have left this place ahead of us. And now that includes Sue. And so we have this promise that if we pursue life the same way she did, and if we pursue this relationship with Jesus like she did, that we have this eternal hope of reuniting again one day with her. And so today is not a day of goodbye forever. It's just until we see you again. For us, it'll seem like a long time, but when we see her again, it will seem as though it was that she had just left us. Time will not have taken place for her. And so that is going to be a blessing. I want to just close up with a word of prayer, and then we're going to play one more song that Sue picked out for today. And so I want you to enjoy that. So as we do. So let's pray. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the words that have been shared, the stories that have been told, the memories that are flooding our hearts and minds right now. Father, for everything that's happened, we're thankful. We're thankful that we get to celebrate a life that was lived, and a life that was lived well, that a life that influenced others, that loved people the way you love people. God, we are so blessed and we are so thankful for that. Help us to hold on to that memory, to that love. Help us to be inspired in our hearts to pursue you and know you like Sue did, so that we can have the hope of the promise of eternity with her again, and so that today is not a day of goodbye, but a day of farewell until we gather together again with some upside down cake or some other fancy things that we would get to enjoy those things again, sit around and talk a little bit about life and enjoy some sweet tea. What a beautiful day that will be. So bless us, Lord, as we wrap up here at this time of celebration. We pray this in your name. Amen. closing benediction for us this morning from Scripture. It says, I pray that out of his glorious riches you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that yet you may be filled to the measure of all fullness of God. And now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we could ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. At the close of our time here, you've been invited to join the family for a lunch at Senor Pepe's. The address is in your memorial folder. And so we hope you can join us there. We will need to move that direction here fairly soon. So if you're planning on joining us over there, the family would love to meet and greet with you there. If by chance you can't go and you need to stop and you haven't had a chance to say goodbye or your condolences to the family, you can do that real quick before we get out of here, and make sure you take a moment to see some of the things that are up here. Enjoy those as well. We really thank you for coming. It's been a great day to share and celebrate. And as we leave and dismiss, we're just going to leave you with one last little love touch from Sue. So enjoy this as you gather and as you say goodbye to and send your condolences. God bless you guys. Thanks for being with us today.